Every single year, baseball fans, analysts, and pundits alike like to sit there and discuss and argue about who the best hitter is in baseball. Who's going to be the MVP? And as we roll around into the dog days of summer, body is saying right now, currently, Aaron Judge is not only the MVP, but the best hitter in all of baseball. So I wanted to challenge that today. I wanted to see exactly how good Aaron Judge's 2022 hitting campaign has been so far. So I went out and I got 5 of the best hitters in all of baseball to compare their stats. And please keep in mind, these numbers that I pulled, these are the numbers that I think make hitters great and what defines a great hitter. But before we get into that and the chart that I made, I want to go ahead and introduce the players, roll them out, and let you get to know them real quick. The first player I want to introduce is the one, the only Mr. 1 Mike Trout. Mike Trout is thought to be one of the, if not the greatest baseball players of all time, and has a very good chance of eclipsing some of the greatest hitters of all time to become the absolute GOAT of the sport. Mike Trout's out of New Jersey, drafted in 2009 by the Los Angeles Angels, and he's been there ever since. Now, the second guy I want to introduce is Mr. 1 Yordan Alvarez. Yordan was picked up by the Los Angeles Dodgers from Cuba, but eventually he was traded to the Houston Astros for Josh Fields back in 2017-2018, and that's currently where he resides. And little fun fact side note, I'm actually only a month older than Yordan Alvarez. Now, the third guy I want to introduce is one Mr. Aaron Judge, drafted in 2013 by the New York Yankees out of Fresno State. Aaron Judge is currently on pace to win AL MVP so far this year and is considered to be the very best hitter in all of baseball. Now, this fourth guy I want to introduce actually is sort of baseball royalty. He comes from his father, Vladimir Guerrero, his son, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who was picked up in 2019 by the Blue Jays and currently plays for the Blue Jays. He's out of Montreal. And the last guy I want to go ahead and introduce is one Mr. Bryce Harper, a former MVP of the league like Mike Trout, thought to be a 5-tool player. Bryce was drafted number 1 overall back in 2010 by the Washington Nationals, but eventually wound up with the Phillies, where he currently resides. Now, guys, before I go and show you the graph, please keep in mind this was just made to compare and see where these players stack up against each other. I'm not making this list to bring anybody down. All 5 of these players are 5 of the top guys in the entire league. With that being said, let's look at the numbers. Now, here are the 8 numbers that I think separate the good, the great from the elite hitters of the league. Average, slugging percentage, on-base percentage, OPS, K-rate, WOBA, WRC. And if you don't know what WRC and WOBA mean, WOBA is basically weighted on-base percentage and WRC is weighted runs created. So let's not waste any more time. Let's go and dig our teeth into this and go one box at a time. Starting out with batting average. From there, we can see that Aaron Judge is batting 312, and there's only 2 guys ahead of him, Yordan Alvarez and Bryce Harper. Yordan is at 316 versus Bryce Harper's 326. When we move down to slugging percentage, we see that Aaron Judge basically dominates the slugging percentage with a 671, and the next closest person to him is Mike Trout at 637. When we run down to on-base percentage on this list, you'll see Aaron Judge isn't first, second, or third, but he's actually 4th, right in front of Vladimir Guerrero Jr., with Yordan leading the entire league with OBP at 408. Moving on down to OPS, you see Aaron Judge with the whopping 1.059. The second closest guy to him is Yordan at 1.040. And we'll move down to my favorite stat, K-rate, and this doesn't look good at all for Aaron Judge or Mike Trout. Judge and Trout are averaging 24.5% and 27.6% of their respective selves. And if you're wondering what that's based off of, that's the strikeout percentage from your total plate appearances and at-bats that you have. Moving down to the last 2 columns of WOBA and WRC, weighted runs created and weighted on-base average, you'll see that Aaron Judge has the highest WOBA and WRC on this entire list. And so these numbers kind of make up for that awful K-rate. When you sit here and maturate on these numbers and sit there and analyze them and take them all in, you kind of start getting a feel for how elite Aaron Judge is versus the rest of the guys out there of the most elite hitters. And the gap is not very far. It's not as far as a lot of analysts would want you to believe. Yordan Alvarez and Bryce Harper are actually having quite comparable seasons to Aaron Judge. Now, they may not have as many home runs as Aaron Judge does, but they also don't have as many strikeouts and the same strikeout rate that Aaron Judge does, which also hurts his team as much as the home runs help this team. Depending on what you value for numbers out of your players, these numbers mean either a lot to you or nothing to you. But that's not up to me to decide. Personally, for me, On-base percentage, average, OPS, K rate, those are the biggest numbers to me because those show exactly what you're doing for your team, not just yourself. Really, for me, what it comes down to is between Yordan Alvarez and Aaron Judge where they wind up at the end of the year. Aaron Judge will probably have more runs batted in and more home runs, but he'll strike out, 7 to 10% more than what Yordan does. Yordan's probably going to end up with a higher on-base percentage and a higher OPS than Aaron Judge, but we'll see what happens. Keep in mind, Bryce Harper is in the NL versus Aaron Judge and Yordan Alvarez, who are in the AL. But right now, it's looking like Bryce Harper could potentially be another MVP this year for the NL. Anyways, guys, I would love to know what y'all think in the comment section down below about these numbers. What do they mean to you? Also, who's your AL and NL MVP so far this year? Hell, who's your Cy Young? Let me know in the comment section down below. My name is Shane, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Adios, mi amigos.
Hey, thank you for rocking out tonight. You could be anywhere in the world. You're right here. And I got my special guest, Tyler Lee, man.
Yeah, we bringing this all from the Keystone State.
Chilling on the Empire State. Till we run the entire state.